People want to become a CPR instructor. I know there are some things that first you need to consider. I'm going to do a series of videos on YouTube just going through some stuff. You know, my videos are not going to be as heartwarming as they once were. For reasons I'm just not even going to go into. But the first thing that you have to decide if you're going to teach CPR is which program are you going to teach. You have the American Heart Association, you have the Red Cross, and then you have the American Safety and Health Institute. Those are the top three. There are some others that I really don't know much about, so I'm not going to talk about those, but I'm going to talk about the ones that I know. Most people want to be American Heart Association instructors because the hospitals take BLS. If somebody is in nursing school, most schools are going to want the American Heart Association BLS card. Excuse me, the yarns. So most people want to do that. But I will say this. Mostly everybody else takes Red Cross and ASHE. This video is going to mostly be about the American Heart Association. Okay. And being a CPR instructor through them and what you need to understand if you are an American Heart Association instructor, okay? The way that the American Heart Association works is that you have the American Heart Association, right? And then you have a training center, and underneath the training center, you might have a training site. And if you don't have a training site, then you just have the instructors. As instructors, okay, no matter if you're a site or if you're an instructor, you are always going to be under the thumb of a training center. The training center can be nice or they can be assholes. Either way, they are going to control your business. So if you start a business and your business model is based 100% in the American Heart Association, at any stage of the game, a shady training center can take you out. I probably sound a little bitter about that, and that's because, damn it, I am. Okay? Listen. I'm going to try to keep some of my personal feelings about that to myself. I'm just telling you what to expect, okay? If you have a great relationship with your training center, great. If you don't have any problems with your training center, great. If you run into any issues with the training center, you're going to have a hard time, and this is why. As far as teaching American Heart Association courses, you are a provider of or an instructor of American Heart Association courses. Excuse me. But that does not mean that the American Heart Association deals with you as the instructor. What a lot of you guys have to understand is that the American Heart Association is a non-profit organization. So even though we're teaching American Heart Association courses, that does not mean that they deal with us. They do not get involved in any of the day-to-day operations when it comes to the training center. They do not get involved in any of the day-to-day operations when it comes to the instructor. They set the rules according to the PAM, and you are to follow the rules. Now, you are basically, and this is why I say it's the training center thing. You're always going to be under the thumb of a training center because the training center is the ones that oversee the sites and the instructors. And so somebody saying, well, why not just start a training center? Guess what? The American Heart Association is not taking any applications for any new training centers at this time. It's been like that for over a year now. So smarty, good luck on that. So no matter what, you have to come in under a training site or a training center. Now, my degree is in human services. So I came into the CPR business with a human services heart. And what I'm saying is that, that didn't do me a lot of good. You got a lot of people who come into the CPR business and understand that it is a business, and so they treat it as a cutthroat business person. When you think about CPR training, especially me being human services, I think about it from an aspect of, oh my goodness, we're teaching people how to save lives. This is great. This is wonderful. But the reality is that people come into this and they see the numbers and they see the business, and it just so happens that they're teaching people how to save lives. So if they have to be cutthroat in business to do that, they will do that, and they do not care. Now, no, don't get me wrong. Not all training centers is like this. If you are a training center that's not like this, please holler at me. But with the American Heart Association, if you're going to be teaching American Heart Association courses, that is the number one downfall of teaching American Heart Association courses, is that you are always under the thumb of a training center. If you ever have any problems with this training center, it is nearly impossible to jump over their heads and go to the American Heart Association and say, hey, I'm having problems with this training center. Can you please help? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Like, the training center has to be doing something pretty egregious. Like, they have to be, like, it have to be a situation probably where you paid for some cards. It's been over 30 days and your students still don't have their cards. That's probably, excuse me. That's probably the only way that the American Heart Association is going to jump in. Other than that, you on your own. The American Heart Association pretty much going to tell you, like, all right, whatever your training center goes, if you don't like it, find a new training center. In the story. So that is that. The biggest pro to teaching American Heart Association is that mostly all of the hospitals and all of the nursing programs from C to shining freaking C only accept the American Heart Association BLS course. So, like, if you're a nurse, or if you're in that medical world and you already have those connections, then yes, it's almost pointless for you to teach anything else other than American Heart Association. But if you're not that person, then listen, you have other options. You have the Red Cross, and you also have ASHE. Now, with the Red Cross and ASHE, daycares, personal trainers, people in oil industry, construction, pretty much anybody who's not a medical professional can take Red Cross or ASHE. And when I say ASHE, I'm talking about the American Safety and Health Institute, guys. So that's the great part about them, is that you still have another percentage of the population that you can serve. The other great thing about the Red Cross and ASHE is that you don't have a middleman. You don't have a training center. With the Red Cross, you can become a licensed training provider. With the ASHE, you can become your own training center and build from within. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Sorry, don't judge me. So that's the pro with ASHE and Red Cross. The con with ASHE and Red Cross is that, of course, you'll be missing out on the medical people. That's kind of what you got to deal with that. So, anytime you are in a situation where you're kind of limited to who you can teach, then of course that's going to, cause some sort of friction or whatever. But, if you get certified in all three, which I am, American Heart Association, Red Cross, and ASHE, then you can kind of go, around and kind of teach a little bit of everybody. I've been doing American Heart Association since 2012. I just picked up Red Cross and ASHE last year. Excuse me. I think I use kind of the American Heart Association as a crutch because I've been with them for the longest, so I know the lay of the land, so to speak, better. I know pretty much the PAM in and out. I know the rules in and out. I know the courses in and out. If you ask me mostly any question when it comes to teaching American Heart Association courses, I can answer it right off the top of my head without having to look it up. Whereas with the Red Cross and ASHE, I'm still learning the ropes with that. But I will say this. I will go on to say this. After 7 years of being under American Heart Association, I'm tired. Tired of the politics, tired of training centers trying to hold MAC back. Tired of the American Heart Association not having any advocates for their instructors when you have a situation that is egregious with a training center. Because you got to understand, if you're doing this as a full-time business and this is your bread and butter, a training center can really put you in a financial bind and take you out of business just like that, just because they want to. And it's really nothing that you can do. Whereas, now don't get me wrong, Red Cross and ASHE have the ability to pull you as well, but that's not, how do I say this? They're not going to go out of their way to do that. Like, you have to do something that is really, really against the guidelines for them to do that to you. With the American Heart Association, if you're, remember, you're not under the AHA, you're under a training center, which is ran by a human being. So if that human being just simply doesn't like you and has it out for you, or if they feel like maybe you might be becoming bigger than them, or if they feel like you're a competition for them, they can cause you a problem for absolutely no reason, or not a good reason, or false, or they can lie on you. I mean, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to the training centers. So when you're choosing to become a CPR instructor, pick your poison. Do you want to go American Safety and Health Institute? Do you want to go Red Cross? Do you want to go American Heart Association? I think being a CPR instructor is still a great thing to do. It's just certain things in regards to the training center situation with the American Heart Association that I'm just not happy with it, period. And so if you got questions, leave them. You can hit me up online, First Choice Emergency and Safety Training. And that's with the number 1ST. You can look me up on Facebook, or you can go to my website, send me an email. It's firstchoiceest.org. That's the number 1ST choiceest.org. I try to help people as much as I can. I do all the instructor classes. I do AHA instructor classes. I do Red Cross instructor classes. I do ASHE instructor classes. But I feel I'm the type of person that's gonna keep it real. The American Heart Association is great. Teaching those courses is great for what it's great for, but the structure that they have set up, where the training centers have so much power and control, can make it very, 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 very frustrating. So if you have any questions, like I say, hit me up and I'll help you out as much as I can. I'm going to be doing a series of videos, just kind of really giving people the ins and outs of the CPR business. This one was kind of just a general going over all three. My next videos will be breaking down each avenue one at a time, and then also giving you tips on what type of training center that you should get with if you're going to get with the American Heart Association, because lo and behold, there's more than one type of training center. The prices for the cards may differ depending on what training center you go to. Some training centers, when you call them, they won't even tell you how much their cards are, and it's like, well, how do I know if I'm going to choose you if I don't know how much your cards are going to be? So these are the type of games that you have to deal with. So like I said, hit me up if you got questions, and y'all will hear more from me later.